Hey everyone, so welcome back to Little Learn and Mom. As promised, I posted this past week that I was going to give you guys my first impressions of Oak Meadow Grade 5. This Oak Meadow Grade 5 was gifted to us from the company and it couldn't have come at a better time because we are making some changes here on our homeschool IG as well as in our homeschool in itself. And the reason why we're making these changes is because over the course of the last 6 months, I've kind of noticed that my son and I have been really butting heads when it comes down to doing his homeschool lessons. And I was trying to figure out what was going wrong with us because we had been doing such a great job over this last several years. And I was trying to figure out what had happened these last 6 months or even this last past year. So what I did was I went out and I pulled out all of my plum paper planners that I've had over the last several years, as well as his kindergarten planner, as well as his preschool planner. And I went back and I read all my observation notes for certain time periods within the school year, as well as that when we begin homeschooling. So what I found out is that we have somewhat lost our way. We were no longer on our path of our vision for our journey through homeschooling. And in fact, we had stepped so far away from what our vision was that this was the main reason why we were having these issues. Now, some of you may have followed me from Facebook when we first began our homeschool journey, and you guys know that my son has been Montessori or was Montessori from the time he was about 12 months old up until about 5.5 years. And after we jumped into a curriculum, we also continued to include a lot of the Montessori philosophy within our homeschool. But unfortunately, at some point, we stepped away from that and we included so much heavy curriculum that it was starting to become an issue for us because that was not what he was familiar with. So that is where Oak Meadow comes in. Now, I've always had Oak Meadow on my radar before I jumped into heavy curriculum, and I'm still trying to figure out why I didn't go this route when we started. But now that we are at a new stage in our homeschool, I'm glad that we have come back and Oak Meadow is going to be our new spine for our curriculum for the 22-23 school year. So let's just kind of jump into this. So if you're not familiar with Oak Meadow, it is a combination of Waldorf, Reggio, Montessori, traditional classical type of homeschool curriculum, which is something that really works for our family because it combines everything that we love about all those different areas or learning styles into one curriculum. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So when you get your grade 5 Oak Meadow curriculum, you receive 5 books. Now let me give you a full disclaimer. We will be using grade 5 as well as grade 6. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more why we're going to have to combine 5th and 6th grade. So when you get your Oak Meadow, you receive 5 books. You receive the teacher's manual, the English and U.S. history course book, the science course book, the math course book, as well as the math workbook. The teacher's manual houses all the instructions as well as the answers for the English and U.S. history as well as the science. All of the curriculum that you have, the English to U.S. history, the science, and the math, they are 36 weeks worth of lesson. You're only to do one lesson a week. Now, in my honest opinion, you can do it the way you want. And Oak Meadow sets it up so this is really child or student led as well as parent choice. So it's supposed to be 36 lessons, which means that you do one lesson a week and it spreads out over the course of the week. Now, what I really do like about what I have been seeing over these last couple weeks is that this is really a curriculum that is student-led. Not only is it student-led, the middle grades concentrate more so on making sure that your child is starting to develop organization skills as well as improve their executive functioning, which are 2 things that my son desperately needs to work on. So with that being said, that was a huge plus for us. So let me just show you a brief look at how it is set up. Now, if you want to see a complete walkthrough of all of these books, please hop on over to Arlene and Company because she does an excellent job walking you through each one of the textbooks or course books And so you can check her out. And if you are interested in checking out the new preschool release from Oak Meadow, please hop on over to Home Life Quinn 5. She is posting great pictures of her little cutie while he's working in it, and she's got a review coming up here shortly. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So the way the lessons are laid out for all the course books, with the exception of math, is that you have an assignment summary, which is this over here, and it has check boxes. You have a materials list, as well as your learning assessment. And in the English and U.S. history book, there is an English manual in the back of the book that is very comprehensive that will help you continue to work on those English concepts if you need extra helps as far as like definitions and, you know, just anything you may need to help you out. What I like about the teacher's manual is that I have 3 subjects being covered or in this one book. It's a huge help for me not to have 3 extra teacher's manuals on my table, because I tend not like to do that. Now, as you move up in the middle grades, they do not do that. There is a teacher's manual and a course book. But for 5th grade, everything is combined with English, science, and U.S. history. The English lessons are not very long, and I appreciate that, because with that means that I can continue to use the supplements that we really do like here in our homeschool while continuing to work along with Oak Meadow. You do get spelling, vocabulary, and there are literary books that the company does send to you, but you can also add your own books, which is a really huge plus because the books are not embedded within the curriculum. And I really do appreciate that, because I have looked at tons of curriculum over the course of the last 12 months, and one of the things that I don't personally like is when they embed the literary books that they send you within the curriculum, because then I feel like I can't really make the curriculum my own because it goes with these books. So let's go ahead and look over at the English and U.S. history right quick. So the English and U.S. history, it's all in one book. And I love that because 1, like I told you, the lessons are very simple. And 2, because the English lessons merge into the social studies lessons. And I say social studies because in this book, they're called social studies lessons instead of history lessons. Just so I can kind of make that clear. And you can see that right here. You'll see the English and the social studies, and here's your checklist. And again, if you want to see like up close pictures of these, please jump on the Oak Meadow website. They give you a nice amount of samples of actual lessons that are in the actual text that you can print out and you can kind of sample with your kiddos, see if it works for you. They give you like a beginning lesson, a middle lesson, and one that's a little bit towards the end. And I really do appreciate that. So in the very first lesson, you will see the topic is subject and predicate. So within this week's lesson, you're going to be working on subject and predicate, and it's going to blend on over until your social studies lesson. So you will get that extra practice that you need, as well as you will get your journaling, your writing skills in, and you will be practicing that week's concept. Now, this is why I'm going to tell you guys that we will be using a mixture of 5th and 6th grade. My son personally works above level in grammar, science, and math. And so when I was looking through the English, I noticed that there were a lot of subjects that my son has already covered and he has full mastery in. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, okay, well, you have the 5th grade. Is this just going to catch dust? Absolutely not, because our plan is to work on the lessons that I would like to review for him for grade 5 over the summer, and then merge into 6th grade Oak Meadow in the fall for him. So let's go ahead and let me show you some examples of why I'm loving what I'm seeing here. So here, right here, this is lesson 5, and you will see that there is a materials list right here. And that materials list is more so for your social studies aspect. So you have that all right here at the beginning for you. Now, Oak Meadow does recommend that the children go ahead and look at their lessons at the beginning of the week before they start and make a decision of what activities or projects they want to do for the week. I like that. That's giving back ownership to the kiddo and taking it away from the parent. But you're still overseeing what your child is doing, but you're giving them more so of a say-so. Now, one of the projects that I really did like was the sourdough recipe in here. Our family loves sourdough bread, but this mama does not bake bread. Now, I love to cook, but I don't bake bread. And so I thought this would be a really good activity for him and I to do together. It gives us that quality time. It's hands-on. He's working on math skills. So I feel like the activities that are offered in the book help draw in that quality time and draw in those hands-on activities. Now, my son is a STEMmer, and you guys know that from off of my Instagram. And so he's all about, STEM activities, working on hands-on activities. And the other lesson in here that we're going to do is he's going to make a tin lantern. And the tin lantern blends into the U.S. history lesson that he will be learning. And so I like the fact that he has something that he can do. And what my goal is just to give him these tools, lay it out, tell him you need to read what you need to do, and just kind of supervise a little bit, make sure there's nothing in there where he can hurt himself or if he needs any help from me. So now, while we're on the subject of talking about history, I know I'm going to get the questions about, okay, so what do you think of the history in Oak Meadow? Now, you all know that I am seriously critical when it comes down to history. I went through several of the lessons in the Oak Meadow, and I personally did not find anything that was offensive to me, that I felt like wasn't true history. What I did notice is that those very sensitive topics like slavery, what else did I notice? And influential people in history, I noticed that Oak Meadow mentioned those things to let you know that is what was going on during history, but they did not overstep the boundaries. And I like that they did not overstep the boundaries because it puts it back in your hands as the parent, depending on what your family's beliefs is or how you teach history in your home. It puts it back in your hands. This is what was going on during this time and period in history. And guess what? Now it's your responsibility as the parent to dig deeper into it. Now, when they mentioned indentured servants and slavery, it was kind of sort of like this was what was going on, and then it was like a period. It was like that was the end. My son knows a ton about what happened during those times in colonial times. We are a Black and brown family. We have several resources in our home. We have talked about the enslavement of Black and brown people for probably 2 years now. I don't want to sit this year, next year, and the year after that in that. So because of that, I appreciate them not overstepping the boundaries there. They also mentioned Christopher Columbus in the history, but I do want to tell you guys they did not overstep. They let you know that he did not discover the Americas, and in fact, they also let you know that he was not very kind to the indigenous people and kind of sort of what went down without overstepping any kind of boundary. So whether your family wants to sit there and live in what they put in there, or if you want to take it to the next level, that ownership is given back to you as a parent. Now, you guys know that my son loves science. Science is his jam. And so when I was looking through the science portion of the Oak Meadow, it lines up the same. There's the assignment summary, there's the materials list, and the learning assessment. Now, the assignment summary, which I'm going to open up a lesson for you guys so you can see it. Here is your assignment summary. So this is what your children are going to be learning for this week. And then again, you have your checkbox system and you have your materials list here. You have your reading and what your assignment is. Now, depending on the assignment, it may ask your child to pick one or two things. Your child may pick both of them. He may just want to be or just really be into it. So him or her have the option to follow the directions and pick one, or do them all. So again, it is back in their hands. They do mention influential scientists in here as well as inventors. Some of them are your traditional ones, and some of them may not be ones that you've ever heard of before. Now, I do have a lot of Black and brown books in my house for Black and brown scientists and inventors. And for whatever is not included in here, I don't have a problem including that myself. Now, I know what people are going to say. Please don't slide into my DM saying, oh, but you know it should be inclusive. Is Oak Meadow inclusive? Yes, there are some inclusivity in Oak Meadow curriculum. But as a black and brown mother, or just as a mother myself, I take on the responsibility of making sure that if I want to add more inclusivity in any curriculum that I purchase or use as a supplement, that I bring that to the table for my son, because that is my responsibility. So they do have some inclusivity in the Oak Meadow curriculums, but if you want to add more, you can. So what I do like is that the science gets down to the science, the real science. There's reading in here, there's journaling in here. Your children will be reading and writing and doing. There are activities, there are experiments. There's a difference between an activity and an experiment. So there's two facefuls, and it kind of depends on the lesson or how it's lined up. So your child can pick what they want to do. Now, again, like I told you guys, we're going to be doing Oak Meadow 5 and 6. As you can tell, these are all my son's little suggestions that he told me that he wanted to work on. We are going to do the Oak Meadow Science 5 during the summer. Whatever he has said that he wants to do, that is what we're going to do, because he has had a considerable amount of science. So therefore, there are a lot of things in here that my son has already done before, and so he will do the ones that are of interest to him over the summer, and then we will move into the Oak Meadow 6 into the fall. So let's talk about the math workbook. The math workbook, in my honest opinion, this is on grade level. Everything that I've showed you, in my opinion, is on grade level. Oak Meadow is very gentle when it comes down to math. Now, my son can do an entire Oak Meadow lesson probably in one day, because that's just where he is in his math. So for that reason, we would need math 6. Is there some challenging things in math 5? Absolutely. Of course, it's going to start off very easy and your kids will run through it. But you have to keep in mind, these lessons are to be done over a course of a week. Because there are not a lot of problems on the page, that is why my son can run through it. And plus, it's material that he's seen before. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Oak Meadow 5 during the summer. And I'm just going to spread it out over the summer, because there's 36 lessons in here, and I don't want him to do 36 lessons in 36 days. So what my plan is for him to do one lesson probably 1 or 2 days out of the week. So he'll do lesson 1 on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then he won't do any other Oak Meadow until the next following week, because we can do that. Now, when it gets to the things that I know it's going to take him more time to do, like when we get to that multiplying fractions and stuff like that, I know it's going to take him a little bit more time to do it, because that's not a skill that he has completely mastered, but he has seen it before. We will spend a little bit more time on it. So in the fall, we will move to Oak Meadow grade 6, because we will have completed Oak Meadow grade 5 during the summer as a review for us. So I know, like I said, this is on grade level. It's just that for my kid, and I'm reiterating, for my child, he just works above level in math, science, and English and history. So he needs Oak Meadow 6. So I like the Oak Meadow grade 5. I like the way it's lined up, because my child does not like a whole bunch of problems on a page. And the average amount of problems that I have seen on an Oak Meadow page is anything between 10 to maybe 15, or well, no, 10 to maybe 20. So with that being said, I like that, and we can do this in stages. So I do like the math in here as well. So what I wanted to point out to you guys again, in the science, and I'm sorry to be skipping over, but I just wanted to make sure I pointed this out to you all. In the science, they have something called science tests. And I really do like the science test. And the reason why I like the science test is because these are the things that I can put on our whiteboard and to make sure that he's really understanding what he is reading and what we are learning. So it's kind of sort of giving me a good idea. Do I need to add something to supplement with this, or are we good to go? So I really do like those science tests. With the Oak Meadow curriculum, you will need separate notebooks for every book that you have in here, but you know, we already do that. So you will need separate notebooks. If you guys are looking for notebook ideas, one of my favorite vendors is School Nest, and you guys have probably seen some of her books on my Instagram. She makes fabulous books, and she actually has books for history and science and math, so you can invest in those and then you're good to go. And they're so beautiful, the colors are so beautiful that they look good on your shelf. So let's talk about the books that they include in here. So for Oak Meadow sends you the Dear America, the Diary of Remember Patience Whipple, A Journey to the New World. And then they also send you the Story of Harriet Tubman, Freedom Train. You also get Ben and Me. You get Early Thunder. You get the Birch Bark House. You get the Children of the Wild Wild West, as well as you get Buffalo Bird Girl. And bravo, Oak Meadow, for including this book in your curriculum package. We already own one of these books, but now I have my own copy. So when we run through this particular area, like, because we do it every year, I'll have my own book, he'll have his own book, and I'm not reading over his shoulder, and we're not fighting. We like to have our own personal books in this house. So bravo for including this book. This is one of my go-to favorite books for teaching the true history of Thanksgiving. So bravo, Oak Meadow, for including this one in there. And if you do not have this book, I highly recommend that you pick it up. The United States Atlas comes in the package as well. So I know some of you are going to probably be thinking, well, you keep talking about you may have to supplement. All right, ladies, let's listen up. You're going to have to supplement regardless of what curriculum you have. That's not a bad thing. What is a bad thing is when you're overly supplementing, and that's when you need to reevaluate. I don't feel like I'm going to be overly supplementing. We will supplement with some things, but not with everything. And I still can use some of my favorite language arts supplements that we use in some of our science that we can use in some of our math. So I'm not upset about that. Now, for books, for me, if you want to add more diversity or inclusion into the curriculum, these are two of my favorite, Turtle Island and What the Eagle Sees. This is for Indigenous Studies. For Black and Brown inclusion, for scientists, I have Black Pioneers of Science and the Invention. And for colonial reading, I decided to pull out our Addie books. These Addie books I actually picked up from the library when they were having a library sale. And so these would be good for colonial times for him to match that one book that we have. The Oak Meadow sent. Wagon Wheels is another one. Even though this is grade 3, this gives you a lot of good background information of during that time. We've got a couple more books of, Nicodemus Town. This is another book, Black Men in Science. We have Black Heroes of the Wild Wild West, and we have Colonial and Revolutionary Times. And we also have America's Black Founders and Journey of York when we start talking about Lewis and Clark. So what do I give Oak Meadow? So far, so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It does look like something that we will use this year. But we do really need that grade 6 Oak Meadow. And so that is something that I'm definitely going to have to take a look at going ahead and trying to get, because he is teetering between 5th and 6th grade. Now, if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to send me a message or comment up under this video, and I would be too happy to answer your questions. If you're interested in me doing a Q&A live, please don't hesitate to do that. I would love to do that. And if you're looking for any more inclusive diversity books, I get a lot of my books from the Heritage Mom. She is a wonderful unit with all the book lists for Black colonial times, if you're looking for that, as well as you can slide into my DMs and ask me what are the things that I would use to supplement with the Oak Meadow curriculum. I am happy with this decision. I think my son will be happy with this decision. And I think that, you know, once we work through the grade 5 areas over the summer, and then mom will have to look into going ahead and getting the Oak Meadow 6. I will let you guys know and give you an update. I'm also going to be doing a blog review on the Oak Meadow grade 5, and you'll probably see that towards the end of the summer. I will also come back to you guys midsummer and give you another review of my impression as we work through it and how the flow is going for us. And just a special shout out to Oak Meadow again for gifting us this grade 5. We really do appreciate it. And until the next video, you guys, be blessed and have a great week. Bye.